I found a client hanging from a wardrobe, and I cut her down, and we commenced CPR, not knowing whether she was dead or alive. Life after this incident was, initially it was okay, but I think I was more like a duck, seeming to be okay on top of the water, and underneath my feet were pedaling at 100 miles an hour. It significantly changed my life, and it came to be that I really couldn't cope with many facets in my life. It affected everything. Challenging, and at times would be confronting, but I was so positive about wanting to get rid of PTSD that I wanted to just smash through it. I was very determined. I enjoyed the process. I enjoy learning. It was a really good process of reflecting on what I was saying to myself, and how I was rewording the event to myself. There was lots of homework, and I enjoyed that. And once I got through the traumatic incidences, I was actually able to use the homework questions in my personal life of other things, because CPT is not only about traumatic events, it's about your thinking in general life, and I've learned to change that as well. So that's been really good, as well as getting over PTSD. So I've got back my enjoyment of life, my social activity. I'm able to enjoy my life just as much as I did before the incident. So I still get triggers. I still avoid, I can't really say that, because I prepare for times when I might see a suicide on telly, especially by hanging, because it sort of hits a raw nerve, so that's a trigger. So I then find triggers out in the community, but I have to then go back to the cognitive processing therapy questions and challenge myself on that. And I find that is a lifelong thing, that I will carry that with me, because I think I'll always have little triggers that pop up, because, you know, it was very traumatic. It was a death, and it was an unexpected death, and it was really quite horrific. So I just have to think about those things, but otherwise life is great. It's all back to normal. It's really good. It was so worth it. During my time after the incident, and while I was going through CPT, I was getting very black and white thoughts. I would see, I was going walking a lot, which really helped, and I would see like a rope hanging from a power line that was used for something else, and I go, right, that is something that someone can suicide on. But then I went to during therapy, I was challenged. Well, you know, really, would someone bother to go to climb up 15 or 10 meters just to hang themselves on that rope? So I was able to challenge those thoughts, and I stopped using simplified words and sentences, and I learned to use like ratios of, okay, what's the percentage of this happening again? Just really challenge my thinking and not awfulize it as much, and just tone things down to a real reality and not a heightened unreality. It's a process where you aren't forced to do it if you're not ready for it. If I didn't want to revisit things, you didn't sort of put me in a position where I was out of control with my emotions or out of control with the situation. It was a controlled therapy. It's supportive. It's very supportive. CPT is much more structured, and it's got homework that challenges your beliefs or your thoughts, which I found really good.